Hey guys, so we're going to continue on with our indoor office scene. We have our clock and our plant. We're going to combine all these later on into like a final little version here, but we're going to continue on with a lamp and a desk. So let's go ahead and press create. I'm just going to make my 5x5. It's not really important precisely how these all fit together, like in terms of like the size that you make them on in the beginning. But we're just going to create this little thing. I would recommend, as far as the lamp goes, I'm going to make the floor lamp. If you want to make a desk lamp, that's fine too. You can kind of make it your own. But just in terms of technique, a couple things going to help out when you're making these things. Obviously, the first thing we're going to do is create a little rectangle here, and I'm going to fill this with a certain color. I might make my lamp shade maybe a sort of a cream color, maybe a little bit lighter. I can go over here to my HSB right here, and I can just pull up the saturation a little bit just to make it a little bit lighter, and pull the brightness too. Yeah. I'll get rid of the stroke. No strokes on any of these things, and I'll just make it angled out by just grabbing on the inside here, grabbing this this corner here, and I'll just tap it 1, 2, 3, 4. And over here, I'll tap this 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, 6. I might make this a little bit shorter too, whichever way you feel is good for you. And what we'll do is we will put some little lines here. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. I am gonna put a little line on not on the top and the bottom, but I'm gonna put a line on the sides. It's also once again you're just gonna hold it on, click there and kind of pull that down, and I'll put a stroke on here. The stroke will be, say, this color here, a little bit darker than your line, and I'll just grab this, and I'll just right click on it, transform it, reflect it, and make a copy, and I'll just move this over here to the side. And I'll just select all of these things. Now, if you have a hard time selecting something, you can just select everything and just hold down Shift and deselect the thing that's behind it. I'll go over here to Object, Blend, Make, and Object, Blend Options, and I'll choose Specified Steps. And if you want to choose like maybe a different number of like little sort of lines to make your little lampshade here, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think maybe 8. And I'll press OK, and that'll just be like my little kind of lampshade here. Then I'm going to make my, well, let's see here, maybe I can adjust this a little bit here. I will duplicate this, I'll sort of drag this away, and I'll just put this back on top here. And I'll then grab my rectangle tool here, put it on top like so, and I'll make this a bit darker. And I'll just hold down Shift and select the lampshade behind it, and then my shape builder tool here, and just get rid of the excess here. So, and I'll just right click on this, and then arrange, send backwards, and there's that. I might make this a bit lighter. Let's see how much lighter I can make this before it starts to blend in. Problem is having it match the other side there. I might make the other side lighter. That might work. Or I could always make my lampshade sort of ridges here a bit darker as well. Pull this down some. That's better. Okay. All right. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll continue on with this lamp here. I'll just make I'll make this sort of stand. It's going to be a floor lamp for me. So I'll just make this long rectangle here, like so. You can resize it once you get into it here, and I'll just get rid of the stroke, and I'll just make this sort of a metal lampshade, like a brushed steel kind of look to it. I'll make it gray, and I'll just Alt select and pull. Actually, what I'll do is this: I will add another little. I'll add the stand on the bottom here, just like so. And I'll just center these two together. I'll pull this in slightly, see if I can get it. Set it up there, and I'll pull this down some. And now I'll do the same thing I did before. Well, first off, let's select these two here, and we'll just combine them. Combine this two, then we'll just get our rectangle. We'll just put it right there in the middle. Make this a bit darker. a little bit darker, not a whole lot darker. Shape Builder tool, get rid of the excess. Oh, hello. First off, we gotta select both. And then Shift M for the Shape Builder tool and pop that off. All right, and then what we'll do is we'll, I'm gonna get in here real quick, and I will first off get both of these selected, get my direct selection tool and select all these and sort of drag these down a little bit. Not quite so much. Yeah. And I'm gonna once again see if I can't maybe curve these in slightly. That's nice. Oh, hello. All right. I don't need this. I don't need this right here. I'll just click on this one and pull this back to where it was. All right. There you go. All right. Good. Okay. Fun. All right. So let's just take this. Right click. Transform. Arrange. Send to back. And now it's behind it. Now I'm going to end this out with a little like sort of ray of light, little beam of light coming down from it. So what we'll do is we'll grab another rectangle here, and I'll just make this rectangle about the same size as the base of the lamp, like so, down like so. And I'll pull this down some, about here, and I'll have it down to the floor. And what we'll do is we will take our direct selection tool and we'll just make this a bit broader. So I'm going to actually wait, pull this up some. I'll pull this up a little bit, and we'll just, yeah, just whatever you do, just make sure it's consistent on both sides. And then we'll fill this in with a gradient here. And the gradient is going to look like this. So what we'll do is we'll go to our gradient window, so window gradient, and we'll affect the gradient to be sort of like a yellow-white kind of color. So let me just click on this. I'll make this sort of maybe a darker yellow, like that. And I'll make this on the other side, oops, I'll make this over here white, and then I'll flip it over on its side. So the yellow starts off, and then what we'll do is we'll make this be completely transparent, and we'll make this be about half transparent. And I may want to adjust this even more just to give it a little more spread. So I'll get rid of this, and I'll just take this right here. Let me just zoom in some, and pull this down a little bit. All right. Match this up. Drive it there. All right, and I think what I'll do is I'll just put this in the back. I'll just transform. Arrange, send to back. All right, so there's that. And if you want to like just adjust that to be more, you know, be a little more diffuse, you can always go over here to your gradient tool, and you can actually adjust where it starts to go to white. So if I maybe want to pull this up a little bit here, have it, you know, be a little more diffuse here. That's an option. I might even want to change this to like 30%. All right, very nice. Okay, and so obviously if you want to adjust this, I'm going to spread this out a little bit more. So, eventually. That looks good, and we'll just make sure that it's all centered. I'll just take all this, and I will, let me just select this right here. And what we'll do is we'll go to Object Group. Oh, hello. Can't go to the objects. It's interesting. I see. What I like. Go to our this guy here, and go to Object blend, expand, and then we can group everything together. Trying to deselect this stand here. I'll shift and oh. There we go. I'll just object group, and then what we'll do is we'll just make sure everything's centered. What we'll do is we'll have to group this together too. Object group and this thing here. So it should be 1, 2, hello. Huh, weird. Well, at any rate, that's about right. Okay, so we'll just move on from there. All right, so there's your little lamp. That's good. As far as the desk goes, I'll just put this off to the side. The desk should be pretty simple. It's basically just several rectangles kind of put together, and you can just go design the drawers the way you like. So I'm just going to do this right here. I'll just have this first rectangle here. I'll have this be gray, and I'll just round the edges, round the corners just slightly, just to maybe not quite so extreme. Let me zoom a little bit here. I'll just round them out slightly here. Trying to get a hold of these. Wow. That's good. And then what we'll do is we will put another rectangle here below it. Make sure they're centered up. And then we'll add some feet to it by just pulling out a couple of rectangles here. I'll have one right here. Hold on Alt and I'll just move this off to the side. See if I can't center this together. Make sure this is all lined up, right? All I'll do is I'll just put these in, I'll make these red so I can see them better. I'll make sure they're lined up vertically. I'll put them in a group. I'll align them centered to this thing here. And what we'll do is we'll just select everything and we'll get our shape builder tool out and we'll just one by one get rid of what's in here. And then we'll combine these two together and I'll make sure it's light gray here. Okay, so with that done, let's see if we can't put something in between here. We'll just make this little area here for the sort of inside of the desk. Once again, make sure this is, I'll make this red and make sure this is centered with this thing. And we'll just go to our shape builder tool here and we'll just Alt, pull that away. And what I can do with this now is I can probably just add another rectangle in between here, just sort of connected at the path. Just have it up a little bit just to where I can just darken this slightly. What I'll do is I'll darken this a good deal just to make it look as if it's kind of back there in the background. And let's add a couple drawers here. One here. And I'll make this around the same, maybe a little bit lighter like this. And the idea here is just to differentiate them from the other parts of the desk here. So I'll put this up a little bit, try to line it up with some of the other parts of the desk. Maybe this a bit wider. Little file drawer. I'll just Alt, drag these over. And kind of position them here. So I'll just group this and I'll group this and make sure these are lined up. And then I'll just make sure it's centered here. So first off, I'll just group these together, object group, and then I'll see if I can center them so they're equidistant from the sides there. All right, so let's see if we can add some other little bits here. What we'll do is we'll divide this here. Let me just grab a bigger rectangle here. Make sure it's centered with the, okay, that's about right. And we'll darken this slightly. And we'll select the desk behind it. And we'll just get our shape builder tool out here, and we'll just Alt like that, kind of giving that a bit of a shadow. And we'll just arrange to send backward, and we need to darken these slightly too. So what we can do is, so these are grouped right now, but I don't need to ungroup them to edit this. I can just double click on this in this little gray bar. This is isolation mode, and then from here we can, you know, adjust the fill slightly just to make it a little bit darker to have it blend in some. And then same deal here. We'll just exit out of this, and we'll click here. We'll add another gray kind of flavor to it here. We'll add a darker side to it. Fill a little bit darker. And we'll select both of these rectangles here, get the shape builder tool out, and there's that. And what we'll do is we could even maybe go so far as to add a little bit of a shadow beneath the drawer. So let's get another rectangle here, and we'll just put this down like so. And we'll make this a bit darker. We'll make this about the same. Well, let's think here. How much darker can we make it before we start to blend in with other things? And let's think. I could probably. The idea is you can add different you know, obviously different shades here and there, but you want to make sure that you're being consistent in terms of what parts are shadowed. That's the sort of game here. So I'll pull this down some just to separate that, and we'll add some handles to it as well. Let's get our little rectangle tool here. We'll just add a little handle like so and make it a bit brighter. I'll make it white. And we'll just drag this down and make sure they are lined up properly. And Alt, drag, and all right. We have a little desk here. We can maybe go through and we can round some of the corners here, just to give it a bit more of a softer edge. What I'll do is I'll just select these things and pull these in. The same thing here. Pull these in slightly. All right, looks nice. All right, and I think these are fine the way they are. And let me just get this and sort of pull this down a little bit. Getting real close here. Here we go. All right, so we have our little desk, and I'll group this together, and I'll kind of shrink this down some, and I'll get my lamp here. I'll put my lamp over here, and I'll shrink this down some too. And we have a little desk and a lamp. Now, obviously, if you don't want this to be, you know, gray and white, you can make it whatever color you like. But the idea is the same. You want to make sure that you've got some, you know, differentiation between the shadows and stuff. This little area of the desk not really necessary. I mean, I imagine that if you were to take this out, it'd be fine. But I like to think that there's a little back to it, and we'll put some more stuff on here. All right. Well, very cool. We'll just go ahead and save this as an .ai file. So I'll call this desk and lamp, and then press OK there, and I'll go ahead and go to export as, and I'll export this as a PNG. Desk and lamp, last name. Right. Well, very cool. Right. See you in class.